evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Monday, November 27th, 2023. I'm going to begin with the NASDAQ this evening, and I am going to start on the hourly chart. Leading up to the high that we've had thus far at 16,122.50 out of this particular upside sequence, the market continues to kind of lag or just move more sideways. We had some fairly strong rally points today, not necessarily showing on the hourly chart. And I'd have to, let's drop down and take a look at the 15-minute chart. We can see them from this morning on the opening, massive, then a drop back down, and then another strong rally. So it continued to do that pretty much for the entire day until the very end, or like let's say from about 1:15 on, where we started to get that sell, but it really kind of hit. We did a 3 up, and now they're coming back down again. So it does not present with a very convincing picture that indeed the fourth wave is complete. Even though, if I'm taking a look at it on this type of a chart, and then I just move it down to a close, a line chart, which is on a closing basis, you can see that this low is just a smidge below the previous low, where actually these two are coming together again, moving it back over. So I can show it to you on the bar chart. You can see that we had we had two spikes lower, with this one putting in a new low below the one previous. If I take out that spike, then we're going to see that this low still exists and this one is up here. So it's hard to make a determination actually as to, is this small fourth wave complete? And we're now going to start to rally again. Now, one more time, when I bring it down to that 15-minute chart, even if I take it to the 30-minute chart, we're looking at something that is just not real convincing that it is actually building in the start of a fifth wave. And this is not very convincing that it's not going to be an A, B, and we're going to come down in a C wave. So again, what essentially it all could be, because I do find that this completed 5 up, and then we get an A, B, C, or, this finishes. This was a 3, that finished it, and this is the A, and then we get an A, B, C, B, and then this is all part of that C wave, and it just doesn't look complete. So again, what we did here, we're doing again here. So is this an irregular B wave going up, putting a new high above that? But again, this is where a lot of these spikes, when you remove them, you can see more the actual move. Get the 5, come off in an A, put in a B, C, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, very large, overlapping. So it becomes a little bit more difficult. So we're looking at, what does all of this represent? It does pretty much, in my mind, kind of give me an ABC down to there. So again, is this an A, B, C, and then we're just putting an A wave there? And this is a B, and we're putting a B wave up here, and now we're going to get the C wave down? That's a very strong possibility. So again, what I'm attempting to do is, the market was not real clear. And again, moving it back to the bar chart, it's even less clear. But when we break it down, we have that possibility. We just basically completed an A wave. We've got a B wave, right? A, B, C. And now we're heading down in the C wave. Now, if that's the case, what can we look for down below to finish this C wave? So again, pulling it all the way back out to here. Here are our fibs. And I'm going to clean this up just a little bit, but I'm going to leave it for right now. These are the fibs for the fourth wave. So you can see we're kind of hanging out all the way up towards the top end of this whole, what should be a corrective move. So now are we going to finally get it to where we get that A, B, and now we're pulling in with a C wave? It's possible. It is possible. And if that is the case, then we still can look for, first of all, a break below. Now, this is the hourly, a break below the hourly 200 simple moving average at 972, which we were below that today. But because of the strength of the rally that took us up to 16,073, this continues to rise. The others are turning flat. This is turning flat. So again, when we look at it, we can see kind of flat with a rise, kind of flat with a heading lower with the downward sort of bias versus this now going flat, but still with a slight upward bias. So very confusing messages we're getting from the NASDAQ in terms of what can we expect. So best to cover both sides. If we're going to get a C wave down, right? Yep, we're kind of bouncing around again. Open up around, I guess it was 5 or 6, traded up to 10 or 14. How high do we get? 1350. The low is 16,003. So small range for the NASDAQ, let's say, but we're just getting started in Globex. So if it's just going to be a 1, 2, 1, 2, we're going to drop seriously. Could, it depends. But then again, we have this break. We have our first level at 15,695. And is it really going to drop that far? Initially, my thought would be, if we're still within this fourth wave, I definitely would be looking for it to come down and take out the low of what I would consider the A wave. And that's 15,936. I'd definitely be looking for it to take that out, but do it in a 5-wave decline, right? And it's a C wave. All C waves are 5. Now, it could put in a diagonal if it wanted to, which you're going to put it's still going to come in 5, but they're all going to be 3s. So we got a couple of choices going on before the rally then picks up again. So the outside of all of this is telling me, and again, just kind of bring this back over, that we should put in a 5th wave and likely get ourselves up to 16,325 or above. And that would then complete the 5th wave. I'm going to take this out one more. Let me just put it on the 4-hour chart. And then we're looking for a minor 5th wave to be complete. It's going to have 5 waves of minute degree. We're still maybe not done with minute 4, which leaves minute 5 in its entirety to unfold. So to think 16,327 is an impossibility? No, I don't think so. If we had an entire 5th wave and had a strong enough push. Now, mind you, today, those of you that trade the NASDAQ, you're wondering, wow, this thing is one choppy mess today. But if we took a quick view towards the components, you had NVIDIA up, down, and all around. We had Microsoft basically up for most of the day. Meta going between up and down all day long. Then we had Google doing the same thing. Amazon having a strong day, pulling back towards the end of the day. AMD having a strong day, pulling back at the end of the day. Same with AMAT. Apple above and higher most of the day, selling down. But now you can see getting bid up again. Say they brought it all the way down back below 190, now bidding it back above 190. That'll be supportive of the NASDAQ continuing to push. So we saw more of the Magnificent Seven go into gear today on a buy mode versus a lot of the balance of the NASDAQ not participating. Tesla actually participated. Oops, we don't want that. And let me just go here. No, we don't want that either. So I want to get up and take a look and see what Tesla was doing. Tesla ended up, it was down a lot of the day, ended up slightly higher. So not much to be adding in terms of what are we going to get and how's this all going to play out. So that's why I am going to leave it as follows. We still have to allow for an additional slide lower to complete this minute 4th wave before we get that 5th wave. If it completed here, it's a very slight failure to what we saw previously, and it's a strange count. This would be A, B, C, B, irregular. And even at that being the case, we'd expected this to be 1.618 below that. Didn't do it. It was coming in a failure, which would suggest, if that's the case, that the fifth wave is going to catch fire and move. That everything is going to come back into alignment, and it's just going to start going ding, 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 and we're off to the races, getting it above 16,122, getting above 16,250, and onwards up towards here. And that 5 waves, if it all unfolds up to there, then that should contain it. If not, we have additional. We have additional. And the 1.618 is way up here. So it just, yep. And then I've got the irregular, and that would be that the whole B wave, turns into an irregular. And that points up much, much higher. But again, we're inside of what I'm considering a minor 4. That puts us really not too much further above all of this. And still could be a little bit of an irregular. But to be honest with you, I'm thinking around these levels here, 16,327. And once I can actually get that 4th wave, then I can put that additional move together in terms of what it actually will come out to be. So again, I will be taking minute wave 1 down here, running it up to the bottom of wave 4, wherever it should be. And just, I'm not definitively not saying this is the case, but what I'm going to do is just put these in as if that is the end of wave 4. And so we get an idea of what our 5th wave has potential for. So again, I do think that here makes a lot of sense for the 5th. That's equality, minor 5 equal to minor 1. And here's equality if minute 5 is equal to minute 1, and that's at 16,275. So again, breaking above that 16,250, which is what I'm expecting. So it negates that intermediate wave 2 count, which I pretty much have. This one would not be effective, but it can. It's 146, and it kind of tops out against that, so it could, but we'd be looking for 5 waves, and that's not really enough room for it to kind of put in a 5-wave structure, at least not in my view. So I would literally kind of call it some resistance there, but I'm going to remove it for the sake of where I think this market needs to go. So 618, there's the 100%, and that's if this level right here completed that 4th wave. That means it turns around and it just starts to go, get it's above 16,073, which it did today, but then it fell back pretty strongly. It gets itself above 16,122, 100% 16,275. We have the 100% for minor wave 5, 16,327. And then we have the 618 here for this minute 5 at 16,482.83. So we have a nice little cluster above 16,250 that could complete this wave. Put it together, we get a 5, we put a B, and we may be staring in the face of a stronger decline to begin. But again, we're just getting ready to start December. So I think a lot of the sideways move as well in both. Now, just let me just double check moving averages right now, and then I'm going to finish that thought that I just started. Let me just go out to this daily. We want to always keep an eye on those daily moving averages. Yeah, you can see that the 20 is gaining some nice traction against the 50, which is starting to turn higher. 200 still angling higher, slower, but now we're in alignment. We are totally in alignment. There's the 200, the 50, the 20, the 8. So all in alignment to continue to move higher. So as long as it stays in place, I'm believing that the rally should continue, and we should get above, up into these upper levels to complete the whole picture. All right, so over in the S&P, what I wanted to add right there at the end is that I think the market is kind of staying in a tighter range, in a sideways range, both the S&P and the NASDAQ, because we have the numbers coming out midweek. So basically, Wednesday we have GDP, and we've got the Fed president, the Richmond Fed president, talking. He's making a TV appearance. But Thursday we have initial jobless claims, PCE index, and it is that index that, along with the Chicago Business Barometer PMI, that the market, this is what I'm reading, is the market is waiting to get some additional confirmation or guidance as to what the Fed may or may not do. So if we're waiting till Thursday, we're going to move along sideways one way or the other. It's going to move. So that's primarily what I wanted to add to that end of the conversation, because here in the S&P as well, we're just kind of hanging. Now, yes, this at least did make a new low below what we had before. So it could be an A, a B, and then this is just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, coming down, sloppy as all heck, but still corrective in nature. And then we put a 4 there. Now, this one did not get broken. Or even it kind of got challenged. It's got 54, where there's a 52. So it got challenged a couple of times, but managed to get itself back, pushing higher. And now we're starting in that same fashion. We're beginning to push higher again. Magic line that it needs to cross today is or soon is 45.80. That leaves this in place as the wave 4 and sets the tone that we should start getting up towards 4,600. Ultimately, once again, I'm feeling 46.30 to 46.40. That's the zone where I think this whole shebang can finish. And if I push this out, look at it, the 4-hour, again, what we're looking at is that this is still a C, but not completing that primary B wave. We get an X wave, and we're doing another intermediate degree ABC. So what do we have going on then? Well, we have the possibility that we have minor A, minor B, and we're finishing a minor C for intermediate wave A, second intermediate wave A. Then we drop in a B wave, and then we come lying back in a C wave. Countering all of that is that this would just change. Intermediate degree A, intermediate degree B. I don't like it because it's pretty tight and not a whole lot of time transpired. We're talking between, it's the 8th to the 9th. It's a 1 day, and we get an intermediate degree. That's why I really am not real keen on changing it, because it would be like 1 day. That's pretty tight. That's pretty tight for an intermediate degree. So the rallies end up still being stronger, but it could be minor, and a minor degree C, and then intermediate wave A, and then we come down in a B wave, and then we go back up in a C wave. Now, could that all come out to the end of the year? Well, yeah, actually it could. It could. We could rally back up, maybe not like the PCE, maybe something else next week or whatever, and we come back down in a B, and then we rally back up in a C to finish out the year, and maybe start the new year ready to do the much larger decline. So again, day by day, that's how we really got to take it right now. So again, here in the S&P, not much to be adding. It's holding that 45.52. If it breaks 45.52 without first breaking 45.80, then we're going to be looking at that there's a very strong possibility that we still have 4. That 4 is still in progress. and that we're going to drop to 45.14 to 45.94. This one I really wouldn't be looking for. It's a little bit too much for a fourth wave. Could happen, but puts a different spin on the picture. Then we'll be looking at maybe we got something else that this actually completed intermediate wave A, and we're doing we're dipping going to be in that intermediate B wave. Again, it's a pretty rough start if that's the case. This still appears corrective with an upside move left to do. That's how I'm basically interpreting this. So again, that's the activity that I'm seeing today. Very tight range intraday. And so moving averages still all kind of primed to continue to move higher. The 8 came down across the 20, but they're both kind of going flat, and wouldn't take much for the 8 to recross that 20 and head higher. And that would, give a lot of emphasis to the market. So again, tomorrow, we don't really have anything except, like, as I said, GDP, except GDP can give a good little push one way or the other. So maybe we get things started tomorrow, and then it completes on Thursday. All right, I am going to end it right there. Our next update will be on Tuesday, December the 28th.